Hello, this is Mackerel Phones. In 1989, a year after Super Mario Bros. 3, but a year before in the United States, Nintendo released the Game Boy. It would become a titanic hit, but initially, the system was a gallery of simplistic, boring games that seemed to exist almost to prove that a video game could even run on the unlit, green-tinted, black and white, 160 by 144 pixel AA battery-powered handheld. A Breakout clone. Baseball. Tetris. But one launch game towered over the others in scope and ambition, and that was Super Mario Land. I won't bother making a mainly informational video about the game. Without a doubt, Jeremy Parish has already made the definitive Super Mario Land video. How about instead I talk about my own Super Mario Land journey? When I was a kid, I avoided Mario almost as a matter of religious principle. There was no particular motive besides a vague, undefined disgust I connected to Mario, with his raccoon tails, hordes of mushroom babies, and unendingly powerless women. Only as a teenager did I play New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. And I thought it was terrible. I hated every second. But for some reason, that opened the floodgates, and I had to collect as many Mario games as possible. The first Mario game I actually enjoyed was the confusingly titled Super Mario 64 DS. But the second Mario game that captured my imagination was Super Mario Land. An early attempt to make a whole side-scrolling adventure on the exceptionally limited Game Boy hardware was fascinating to me, especially as it so blatantly waved away the typical Super Mario formula, which admittedly hadn't been set in stone at this point. Yes, Mario's mission was to rescue a princess from a tyrant, but instead of liberating the Mushroom Kingdom from King Koopa and rescuing Princess Peach, Mario was to liberate the 4 kingdoms of Sarasaland from the alien invader Tatanga, who meant to force Princess Daisy to be his bride. A fairy tale villain, a monster who kidnaps a fair maiden to force her to become his bride. You know, like Bowser. Naturally, the fair maiden is also royalty, as peasants are not human and beneath our contempt. But the fairy tale takes a twist for the weirder that Bowser does not, since here, the monster is also an alien invader. Let's begin. The first kingdom, Birabuto. Oh, this music, composed by Hirokazu Tanaka, would haunt me for years. Occasionally the melody would appear to overwhelm my conscious thought, seemingly at random. It always mocked me, reminding old Mackerel Phones that he never beat Super Mario Land. Birabuto has an ancient Egyptian theme, judging from the pyramids and palm trees. Hieroglyphics, too. In the instruction booklet, the enemies are drawn in faded pink and gray. Makes them feel dreamlike and somehow dismal. The booklet's cover is also forebodingly austere. Minimalistic as the cover of Mother. All of the enemy names are unchanged from the Japanese. Gao, Bun Bun, Yuyarin Bu. In Japanese, Goombas are called Kuribo. Here, they're Chibibo. Chibi meaning little. The translators could have invented a new pun-off Goomba, like Goom Small or something, but instead kept Chibibo. Whether this decision grew from intention or carelessness, the result is that Sarasaland genuinely feels foreign to what Mario usually knows. Look, they don't even have fire flowers. Instead, Mario eats these other flowers that let him throw super balls. The super balls somehow pick up coins for him, too. The local Koopas are Nokobone, suicide bombers. How dark. Inside this pyramid, I always wondered how to get to those upper ledges where some coins tease us. It turns out, a hidden block drops a lift Mario can ride up there. Look at him in front of the time limit and score and live information like they're just painted on the wall behind him. But Mario's always been about secrets, dating back to the Warp Zone in Super Mario Bros. His pyramid music's great. The first boss is King Totumesu. I like that he has a voice clip. Same as the other bosses, granted, all of whom must have extremely nasally voices. Prepare to meet your doom, Mario! And Mario finds Princess Daisy. In another subversion, she'll help Mario track down Tatanga. Oh, wait, no. Dark magic. That was really a fly. Not like a woman is good for anything except being a trophy, am I right? The second kingdom, Muda. Mario seems to have flown here on a flying saucer, presumably stolen from King Totomesu. The music remains lovely. If Princess Daisy ever has her own video game, which she darn well better, this should be incorporated somewhere. Muda is a series of extremely small islands. These islands are so tiny, I don't know if this actually counts as an archipelago. So Sarasaland must be, in large part, ocean. I question how anyone could live in Muda, but then the locals must be the Torion, these fish. There are also the Honen. According to the instruction booklet, the Honen are the reanimated skeletons of the Torion Tatanga has eaten. Hold on. The instruction booklet states that Tatanga has hypnotized the people of all the kingdoms so that he could control them in any way he liked. This is a deeply disturbing violation of autonomy, obviously, but does that mean all the enemies Mario is fighting are the people of Sarasaland? Look at that Boon Boon! Mario is unambiguously murdering them! The developers took the time to animate their eyeless corpses plummeting from the air. Mario's ripping their eyes out, their wings off, he's stomping the guts out of them. This is horrifying! And what about the suicide-bombing Nokobone? They have no bodily autonomy, Mario! What are you doing? What about King Totomesu? Did he rule the Birabuto Kingdom before Tatanga's invasion? Was he a kind-hearted sphinx? Tatanga, you monster! You're eating innocent people! Eating them! This is beyond unforgivable! And yet it takes two to tango. Did Mario murder a good man? Does Mario realize what has happened in Sarasaland? Will he only understand, after the fact, the enormous amount of innocent blood on his hands? Is that why Mario wears gloves? A symbol of his guilt and shame over the senseless murders these hands have perpetuated? Is Mario a liberator? Or a genocidally reckless madman, charging ahead with brutal violence, when another method could be just as viable? The instruction booklet isn't clear on how much Mario knows about the situation. He rushes in with a so-called liberation that, in reality, is the worst kind of terrorism. These are the hard-hitting moral questions I expect from the Mario series. Understandably, most of the series is extremely disappointing. If you think I'm moving a little too slowly on these platforming challenges, I admit, I found Super Mario Land almost maddeningly difficult. It's not quite the hardest video game I've ever played, but it's up there with Echo the Dolphin and Metroid Prime 2. Never played Dark Souls yet. Yet Jeremy Parish calls it
a bit on the short and easy side.
Please, this is white-knuckle, sweaty palm action. Why else do you think I'm hoarding coins and one-ups? I've played Super Mario Bros. 3. The difficulty does not compare. In SMB3, Mario can get a warp whistle and Luigi, Toads, and Princess Peach are there to give him a helping hand. Here, Mario's on his own, in a hostile, deadly foreign country. No shortcuts. I did this playthrough a year ago. I rolled up my metaphorical sleeves and decided I'd see this thing through. My first successful run of Super Mario Land occurred only after I learned through failure and failure, memorizing enemy positions, jumps, and generally sharpening my skills. But unlike Super Mario Bros. 3, whose physics always left me feeling less like I could control Mario and Luigi, and more like I could vaguely suggest they move a certain direction, I always felt I had Super Mario Land under control. I'm not saying Super Mario Land is better than its predecessor. It's basically a step backwards, actually. But I do personally get more, if not fun, then intrigue out of it than Super Mario Bros. 3. You know, future video game historians will be really irritated about these titles, I bet you. Come on, make the jump! No! Here's Mario in his submarine, the Marine Pop. Yeah, he has a submarine this time around. There are actually 2 shoot-'em-up segments in Super Mario Land. Just another way that they're very distinct from the main Super Mario Bros. Games. Oh, the coins spell out Mario's name. Clearly they knew Mario was coming, judging from the barricades. Why'd they write out his name? Did they hope this would distract Mario, so known for his greed? And why isn't Mario bombing their underwater flying saucer fleet? Ah, Dragon Zamasu. Notably, he's not referred to as a king. He is one of the Yurarin, those seahorse people who've been appearing throughout Muda. Ah, so they must be the people of this kingdom. The nasally voiced Dragon Zamasu dies of torpedo explosion. Okay, here's Princess Daisy, no doubt about to tell Mario of her childhood memories of Dragon Zamasu's kindness. No, just kidding, no. Fooled you once, then... Well, I doubt I even fooled you once. The third kingdom is Easton. This one is desolate, a rocky plain full of moai. If I didn't know better, I'd guess this is from Konami. What I remember best about Easton are these pits of spikes and these boulders. See, the boulders are called Ganchan. Believe it or not, they're alive. See the eyes? The instruction booklet describes Ganchan excellently. They are terrible if they hit and squash you, but useful because you can jump on one and let it take you for a ride. I agree. Things that hit and squash me are terrible. And they say Shakespeare died in the 17th century. To ride the Ganchan, Mario needs to time his jumps exactly right. And they're the only path across these fields of deadly spikes. Easton is an inhospitable place. Oh, and don't forget about the bill blasters. Although here they pop out of warp pipes like piranha plants, and they fire gira instead of bullet bills. Oh, by the way, in Japan, bullet bills are called killers, or kira. In later re-releases of Super Mario Land, Nintendo actually did change some of the names. So, Gira, which is clearly almost the same as Kira, was reflected in this new translation as Bullet Biff, which conveys the spirit of the original, I suppose, although something about it feels wrong to me. I like that the Eastern Kingdom soldiers, Toko Toko, are high-speed sprinters, but they're only heads with arms and sunglasses. Presumably their legs are extremely tiny, though muscular, and not visible at this low resolution. Have you noticed that the one-ups in Super Mario Land are hearts instead of green mushrooms? I assume this is because the Game Boy screen, being grayscale and greenish, could not convey their color in a way that would differentiate them from the normal mushrooms. In these caverns, Mario encounters lots of spider monsters, called Su and Kumo, perhaps distant relatives of the scuttlebugs. Eventually, after running whole kilometers crossing a cave full of waterfalls and giant spiders, Mario discovers who's been throwing these Ganchan. King Hioihoi, who wins the award for most difficult to pronounce name of a Mario character. King Hioihoi is the toughest boss of the game since you need to land on the Ganchan he tosses, then immediately leap off onto the cliff above him to hit the switch. Or, alternatively, you just run through him and take a hit. I lost a lot of lives to Hioihoi. Generally, if I couldn't finish the game, it was because of him. Goodbye, King Hioihoi. Oh, Daisy! At last, Mario reaches the Chai Kingdom, where Tatanga is holding Daisy prisoner. Here, forests of bamboo grow in what seem to be cramped tomb-like buildings full of lethal traps and Chinese vampires. I assume Tatanga introduced the lethal traps. The vampires, though, they probably already lived here. Bureaucrats. Since Daisy is a princess, who's the king? I have a lot of questions about the Sarasaland government. Clearly, if there are 4 kingdoms, Sarasaland must be some kind of federation. Does Daisy's family rule the 4 kingdoms as some kind of Holy Roman Emperor kind of situation? Or do they rule only one of them? Does her family hail from one of the kingdoms and the other kingdoms swear fealty to them? I'd guess Daisy might come from the Chai Kingdom, but clearly it's themed around a semi-offensive amusement park vision China. If that's the case though, why does Daisy clearly have European features? I think an Asian princess with lots of moxie would be a great addition to the Mario cast. Mario meets no other humans in Sarasaland. These Chinese vampires, called Pyompi, may have been human once, but today are long dead. In the Mushroom Kingdom, only the ruler, Peach Toadstool, is human. Mario and Luigi ended up there after a plumbing mishap in Brooklyn.
Found the secret warp zone while working on the drain. Lend the princess a hand in the Mushroom Land. Join the action with the plumbers, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
And in the kingdoms of Super Mario Bros. 3, the only humans are the Mushroom Kings. There's Rosalina, who seems to come from the same planet that these kingdoms are on. But was she a princess before she ended up taking over the Comet Observatory? Have humans gradually left Earth, like Mario, and made themselves into an imperialist ruling class in the Mushroom World? I think the answer is an obvious yes. No wonder the Goombas deserted the Mushroom Kingdom to side with the Koopas. For his many flaws, at least Bowser promises a Mushroom World ruled by the native peoples. Mario is well known for its highly political world building. Anyway, the Pyompi are extremely irritating enemies because their hops are long and Mario cannot defeat them, except by running far enough ahead that they go off screen, which is an extremely valuable strategy in Super Mario Land. Here, Mario meets a Pompon flower. They only appear in this stage. That's one of my favorite elements of Super Mario Land. Many enemies only turn up in 1 or 2 stages. It creates a much stronger sense of visiting distinct locations than the recurring enemies of, for example, Super Mario Bros. To be fair, the enemies in Super Mario Bros. Are all soldiers of the invading Koopa Kingdom, so their greater degree of consistency is perhaps justified. I never expected to see Mario in a bamboo forest while gangs of vampires dressed up like Qing Dynasty officials hop in mad pursuit. Like Super Mario Bros. 2, there's something somehow dreamlike about Super Mario Land. But the exotic themes would not have been as unexpected back then as they would be for a contemporary Mario game. Besides Super Mario Odyssey, I mean. Super Mario Bros. 2 had a vaguely Arabian Nights theme, and featured lots of magic masks and flying carpets. While in Super Mario Bros. 3, the Mushroom Kings are consistently not kings so much as sultans. Putting Mario in a magical dream Egypt or China seems like a reasonable continuation. Finally, Mario takes to the skies in his airplane, the Sky Pop. I wonder why he hasn't used this thing since. Come to think of it, I wonder why he didn't just fly over all these kingdoms in the Sky Pop directly to Tatanga's lair. This highlights the senselessness of his slaughter, emphasizing Mario's morally dubious character. Those moving light orbs are called Chikako, and believe it or not, they're supposed to be robots. The resemblance is uncanny. Come to think of it, Tatanga seems to have other robots working for him too. Whoa, look at those giant hands. That's kind of freaky. At last, Mario does battle against Tatanga's lieutenant, Byokinton? Rather odd name for a cloud man. But Byokinton is not a cloud man. The instruction booklet states that he is extremely shy and hides in a cloud. Up to now, nobody has ever seen what he looks like. Aww, I feel kind of bad for this guy. When Tatanga descended onto Sarasaland, he emerged from a huge black cloud. Presumably, Byokinton had some connection to that cloud. After Mario bests Byokinton in a dogfight, Tatanga himself descends inside the war robot Pagosu. If I had directed this game, instead of Satoru Okada, I would have had Tatanga give Mario a demoralizing monologue on the nature of evil, broaching the question of who, here, Mario or Tatanga, has genuinely done more harm, Tatanga the slaver or Mario, he who killed the slaves claiming he was fighting for their liberation. Instead, Mario and Tatanga just shoot at each other for a long time. Yeah. After the battle, Mario lands the Sky Pop and meets the real Princess Daisy. Completely uncritical of his methods, she thanks Mario, and together they fly away in a rocket ship as the credits roll. Finally! After so many years, I found closure on this dreamy minor piece of my childhood, a loose thread sewn into life's tapestry at last. An ending, a solution, an answer to a Mario game so inexplicable some kids thought it a bootleg, which is frankly an insult to its high quality. There are more special thanks than people who actually worked on the game. The ending is open and bittersweet. Tatanga has been defeated, but Mario's War of Liberation has left hundreds dead, including the kings of Sarasaland, creating a power vacuum that will quickly result in many more deaths than Tatanga alone could have engineered. Moreover, we never learned the secret of Tatanga, where he came from and why. Since the manual calls him the mysterious spaceman, so I assume there was some mystery, right? The real mystery is why the developers thought there was a mystery. I would assume the sequel, Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, would pick up where the original left off, chronicling Daisy's grief over her presumably murdered father as she struggles to rebuild and reunify the kingdom, facing extreme censure from the public for siding with Mario, who is widely seen as a war criminal, the sociopath who slaughtered men, women, and children without remorse. But then Sarasaland never appeared in any other Mario game ever. Presumably, that's why Daisy lives in the Mushroom Kingdom now. Behind her cheery facade, Daisy is tormented over her abandonment of her own kingdom for a lifetime of easy kart racing and tennis. Someday, she will return and redeem herself in whatever small way she can for her tacit endorsement of war crimes and abandoning her people when they needed her the most. If Mario has blood on his hands, then so too does Daisy. I mean, that's probably what Nintendo is going for, you know. Okay, enough joking. For something so basic and simplistic, Super Mario Land captured my imagination back then, drawing so many ideas and thoughts, good and bad, within my firing neurons, and evidently continues to do so. Super Mario Land 2 was even weirder. Mario climbs around inside a giant robot Mario. He also shrinks down to enter a house. These are some very creative, unique world themes. Compare that to the worlds in New Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Land 2 actually does reveal Tatanga's secret. Wario hired him to attack Sarasaland to lure Mario away from the actual place called Mario Land, an island fiefdom Princess Peach gave to Mario after the events of Super Mario Bros. 3. Then Wario took over the island and hypnotized everybody there to hate Mario.
Obey Wario! Destroy Mario!
Don't fall under Wario's evil spell in Super Mario Land 2, only on Game Boy.
Tatanga returns as a boss fight on the moon. Yeah, Mario travels to outer space 15 years before Super Mario Galaxy. Then this strange sub-series became even weirder, again, with Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. In a perverse reimagining of the Mario formula, Wario's out not to rescue Princess Peach, but steal a golden statue depicting her. When pirates beat him to it, Wario embarks on a weirdo adventure to steal it from them instead. In this way, the Mario Land series metamorphosed into Wario Land, each installment both goofier and scarier than the last, with increasingly esoteric and unorthodox gameplay, revolving around non-linear level progression, complete invincibility, puzzle solving, and treasure collecting. This experimentation makes Wario Land one of Nintendo's most consistently interesting series, although they haven't touched it since 2008. Super Mario Land, thus, is the unlikely origin of Wario himself, and WarioWare. The weirdness no doubt derives from its creators in Nintendo R&D 1. Nintendo's main titles come from Shigeru Miyamoto of EAD, while the experimental and usually much more interesting, if not as consistent games, come out of R&D 1. For example, Metroid, Kid Icarus, and the Nintendo murder mystery adventure games nobody outside of Japan knows about. Super Mario Land's influence continues to be felt also with a title like Super Mario 3D Land, a handheld original Mario platformer like Super Mario Land before it. I hope the Mario series continues to do weird and surprising things for years to come. Maybe even, who knows, genuinely interesting or meaningful things. A few years ago, amid a slew of boring, repetitive games, I had no hope for that whatsoever. But then, Super Mario Odyssey happened. And Princess Daisy? Oh, Daisy! She's playable in Super Mario Run, arguably an installment of the main series, and in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I might not like Super Smash Bros., but if Daisy finally has put in an appearance, maybe she could get her own game. Nintendo is just another company out to make money at any cost, but they haven't totally lost their charm yet. This has been Mackerel Phones. And Super Mario Land really is so hard. You have no idea.